Tennessee Titans fans, the first preseason game of the year just came to an end. The Titans and the 49ers, and the Titans won. Woo! Listen, I know it's a meaningless preseason game. Okay. It's August the 10th, and nobody's going to remember this game in a month. But I ain't had Titans football in 8 months, so dang it, I'm going to celebrate a preseason dub over the Brandon Allen-led 49ers. Okay, here are the things that I really enjoyed about this game. First of all, it was good to see the starters. It's good to see the starters in the game because over the last few years, there haven't really been a whole lot of starters in preseason games for the Titans. And it always kind of aggravated me because we were always told that, you know, our quarterback, Ryan Tannehill at the time, it's like, well, he doesn't need the preseason reps. He's a veteran. He doesn't need the reps. But meanwhile, you've got Patrick Mahomes playing the entire first half sometimes for Kansas City. Josh Allen gets a lot of work in the preseason. Those guys need the reps. And like our guy doesn't? Are you telling me that? So I was glad to see the starters get some time tonight on both sides of the ball. I'm going to talk about the offense first and what I liked there. The play to Calvin Ridley, I mean, that was just, I think, a preview of what I think he can bring to the table. The acceleration, the explosiveness. Sorry if you hear that. Somebody is on like a really loud dirt bike outside. But it was 3rd and 10, I believe. Calvin catches the ball a few yards shy of the sticks and then just races to the sideline to get the first down and then some. Just an explosive play that I think you will see shared on Titans social media and stuff this week because that was probably a lot of people's favorite play of the game. But other than that, I thought Tony Pollard looked really good. I thought Tony Pollard looked like the guy in Dallas a couple of years ago before he got hurt last year. People forget, like, Tony Pollard was viewed as a good running back before he got hurt last year and things just didn't go the way people thought it would in Dallas. But Tony Pollard was making plays in the pass game and the run game. He had the nice, I think, 24-yard run down the sideline there. Had a big 3rd down conversion where he made some nice moves to make a guy miss in the open field to get a first down. So I was very excited about what I saw from Calvin Ridley, from Tony Pollard, and from the starting offensive line. It was kind of the offensive line that we expected to start tonight. Latham, Skoronski, Cushenberry, Radens, Petit Frere. And I thought that they held up really well. I know they weren't exactly going up against the Bosas out there, but I mean, you go against who's out there. It's the way preseason goes. And I thought that J.C. Latham, that's a guy we're all watching. I thought he held up nice. That right side still feels very open, but tonight it was Radens and Petit Frere. I thought they did well. Obviously, somebody on Twitter will be breaking down film this week, and we'll get a closer look, but I thought the offensive line held up nicely. The starters, that is. So I was thrilled about that. Will Levis, I thought, did exactly what he needed to do. Now, I will say this, though. You know what I'm about to say. Why is he lowering his shoulder and taking a big hit like that in a preseason football game? Come on, bro. I know it's football. I know it's physical. You're going to get knocked around a little bit. But I mean, that was a lot of people's concern about Will. Is that, hey, you know, we remember last year when he went flying through the air. We remember last year when he lowered his shoulder to try to run some dudes over. We remember last year when he tried to, you know, get super physical. You know, that can't last. You can't keep doing that. And then this guy comes out in the first game of the preseason and tries to lower his shoulder and power over a guy. Listen, I appreciate the fire. I appreciate that he wanted to get into the end zone because I believe it was 3rd and goal. I get it. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. Somebody has got to get in his ear and tell him, don't be doing that in a preseason football game. You're going to get hurt, and it's going to ruin everything. But other than that, I thought Will Levis did what he needed to do. Had some nice plays. I mean, obviously the one to Ridley that I mentioned, but, you know, mostly dumping it to backs out of the backfield, just kind of getting his feet wet. Had the rushing touchdown technically with a QB sneak after he had just lowered his shoulder. That's quite the call to have him run a QB sneak where he carries the ball to the end zone. But liked what I saw from Will. Really liked what I saw from that starting offense. Obviously, Tyjae Spears had the 4-yard touchdown run and, you know, made some nice moves on it. I'm very excited about him. And if Tony Pollard keeps looking like he did tonight, that combo could be very lethal. Looking at the defense, all right, we didn't have all of our starters in on defense, right? We didn't have Simmons or Landry or Snead or Awuzie. I don't think Amani Hooker was in there. So those are some big pieces that weren't in the game. But I'm still worried about that pass rush. I mean, Arden Key was in there. He wasn't getting home, and he's not even going to be playing probably the first 6 games. So I'm a little concerned. I don't think Denard Wilson was showing all of it, but we know Denard Wilson's going to be an aggressive defensive coordinator. But he was, the pass rush was not getting home for the most part. T'Vondre Sweat looked like I definitely saw him getting double teamed some. I know he's a rookie, so a lot of people were watching him tonight. I'm going to give him time to kind of get his feet wet. Didn't really make any noise tonight, I will say that. But, him being lined up beside Jeffrey Simmons would be a much different ball game. So we'll see how things fare with T'Vondre Sweat. Jarvis Brownlee made some nice plays at corner. I think he will make the roster. I think he could be a great depth guy in the secondary. If somebody gets hurt and has to miss a week, I think he could be a really good addition to the defense. Didn't hear Cedric Gray's name at all. Otis Reese made some nice plays early on. We've been waiting, hoping that he could do something. He made some nice plays when he was in there. Kenneth Murray was around. Chance Campbell's player of the game. Chance Campbell's player of the game. Now you want to talk about a guy, Vrabel would love him. You already know Vrabel would be foaming at the mouth for Chance Campbell because, that's a classic case of a dude just working his way into a potential roster spot. Like, that's a guy that if he keeps doing that, you're going to have people saying, is this guy going to be a part of what we're doing? Because he was everywhere. That guy's going to sleep good tonight because he got some work in tonight. And it was fitting the way it ended with the interception because, he's player of the game. Absolutely. Unbelievable. Mason Rudolph, I thought was exactly what you would expect from Mason Rudolph. He is a by-the-books backup quarterback. I think he's the best backup quarterback we've had since Tannehill backed up Mariota. I think... and you can't understate how important it is to have a good backup quarterback. So got about what I expected from Rudolph. I didn't like that we, even though it was the backups, you always want to convert those 4th and shorts. And we had 2 4th and shorts, one in the second quarter, one in the fourth. We didn't convert. Bill Callahan will probably have some things to say about the offensive linemen that were in there. The field goal Nick Folk missed at the end of the first half. Didn't like that. And I will say another thing that I really loved, and I can't believe it took me this long to mention it. How about the Jacksons? I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Woo! Kieris and Jaquano for real. Listen, Kieris Jackson with the play of the night on that kickoff return. 2 spin moves in a row. All it needed was for Chris Berman to be there going, whoop! Kieris Jackson with a beautiful kick return, and then Jaquan Jackson with a nice punt return. Brian Callahan's going to have a decision to make about, I don't think both of those guys make the roster. I said the other day on the podcast, which we will have a new episode up Monday, Kieris Jackson kind of hadn't heard a lot from him. He made the 53-man roster last year. We hadn't heard much from him, but we did tonight. That guy, he had a beautiful kickoff return. Jaquan Jackson, he's making noise too. I don't know which one of those you would want as the returner. As far as other wide receivers, that battle of who's going to make the roster for that, you have to throw those 2 guys' name in there. Kyle Phillips had a couple of catches. Mason Kinsey did a couple of nice things. Traylon Burks had a catch. We obviously know Hopkins, Boyd, and Ridley are going to be the top 3. But overall, mostly pleased. I'm concerned about the edge rush. I'm concerned about getting to the passer, and I wonder if the Titans will try to make a signing over the next couple of weeks. But I will be back Monday on the Two Tone Talk podcast at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, to talk about more with this game, talk more about Malik Willis and how I felt about him and the way that he played in most of the second half. Where does he fall into all of this? Talk about what we saw kind of from Denard Wilson. We're going to talk about all of this more in depth on Monday. I will see you then. Tighten up. 1-0 in the preseason. Bye, everybody.